Here are the top 5 things I wish I knew before moving to Calgary, Alberta. My name's Nada. I'm a licensed local realtor here in Calgary. I actually moved to Calgary from Vancouver in order to be able to invest in real estate because, as we know, it's so much more affordable here. Now, although that was the best financial decision I've ever made, I did run into a couple things that shocked me about Calgary. So here's my top 5 list of things I wish I knew, and stay tuned till the end for the thing that shocked me the most. Number 1, Calgary has no provincial sales tax or land transfer tax. Now, this was a huge thing to me because I was used to paying 7% provincial tax on everything in Vancouver. In Calgary, you actually only have to pay a 5% tax on anything you buy, and that's for GST. So right there, I was already saving a ton of money just on my everyday purchases. Land transfer tax was also another really big thing. In Vancouver, when a buyer purchases a property, they have to pay a land transfer tax. Here in Calgary, you don't have to pay that. So that right there already can save you tens of thousands of dollars, making purchasing real estate one step easier. Number 2, the size of the city. Calgary is deceptively large, with a population of just over 1.3 million. What this means is if you're someone who doesn't have a car, getting around can take a little longer. We do have public transit systems like buses and the C train, but nonetheless, if you are going across the city, it will be quite a fair commute. Calgary is working right now to expand its public transit system, but compared to other cities, they are a little bit behind. Something I did notice though that was huge in my perspective was the ring road. Coming from a really congested city and then coming over to Calgary, where you can easily access anything through a network of highways, was fantastic. So if you do drive, this makes traveling around the city very efficient, and this was quite honestly a game changer for me. There's also a bike lane system downtown. So if you are someone who does commute to work using a bike, this is something that'll be really fantastic for you. Another thing that caught me off guard is that there's actually scooters downtown that you can rent out really easily and really cheap, and they are phenomenal for transporting around downtown. Number 3 is the outdoor activities that Calgary has to offer. Now, I myself am not really an outdoor enthusiast, but I figured for a lot of people that are moving here, that would be a huge part of the reason why. Calgary is fantastic if you're someone who enjoys outdoor activities. Banff is just an hour-and-a-half drive away and provides many things to do, especially for you and your family. This includes things like dirt biking, skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking. There's even spas and hot springs. It's really endless. Calgary even has some of its own local spots perfect for enjoying the outdoors, such as COP or Calgary Olympic Park. And in summer, one of my personal favorites is the Bow River. You can grab a raft, head up the river, and float down it for hours. Number 4 is the weather and climate in Calgary. Now, I expected it to be cold and I expected the winters to be bad, but something that really threw me off guard and that I feel like not a lot of people talk about is how dry Calgary is. So get ready to have some moisturizer on hand if you plan on moving here, because you absolutely will need it. The other thing that really surprised me is that Calgary has something called Chinooks. Now, Chinooks are basically a gust of wind that comes in from the west just over the mountains, and it helps to warm the air. This can lead to drastic and fast changes in temperature, where one day it might be -20 and the next day the temperature might be in the positives. This can even happen sometimes in the course of a few hours, so it's something that you really have to look out for. The final thing that really caught me off guard about Calgary, and that I also feel like no one talks about, is the hailstorms. Now, this really caught me off guard last week because I was sitting in my car and it started thundering. Next thing I know, these large chunks of hail started just downpouring from the sky, and to be honest, it was quite horrifying. The other thing I came to learn is that there's also instances where the hail can get really large, sometimes even the size of golf balls. It's even more prominent in certain areas in Calgary, so it's definitely something to consider when moving here and maybe looking into getting insurance for, especially depending on where you plan on living. No matter where you decide to live, each place will come with its own pros and cons. It's just about being aware and deciding on what's best for you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more Calgary-related content.